In the history of the Naruto world, the Uchiha Massacre is forever known as one of the most iconic moments in the series, especially in the Land of Fire. In one night, one of the most powerful clans in the Land of Fire was wiped out by one of its own in an assault that they didn't see coming. Itachi Uchiha, the prodigy of the clan that many within the clan saw as a generational talent, and others outside of the clan even dared to suggest that he had the potential to be Hokage, he turned his blade against the clan in an effort to prevent them from bringing shame to the Uchiha name by rebelling against the very village that they helped found, which started the entire concept of ninja villages existing in the Naruto world. However, while we know that this is how history played out, Itachi being branded a clan killer, one thing that doesn't get talked enough about is the Uchiha clan's plan for a coup d'etat and whether or not it could have actually worked, which is why in today's Naruto Explained video, I want to look at all the angles of this because it's a more complicated answer than, bruh, they just would have invaded the Land of Fire. Now, this will not be a what if, but instead this will be a more in-depth and comprehensive look at how successful the Uchiha clan's proposed coup d'etat would have been had Fugaku had complete solidarity with all the members of the clan itself, including Itachi and Shisui. There's this misconception by a lot of fans that the Uchiha were just going to wake up one day and start picking violence, marching down the streets of Konoha, bullying whoever was in their way before they got to Hokage Tower, cut off Hiruzen's head and put it on a spike like he was Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. That's a bit dramatic, but you get the point of what I'm saying here. There's a gross misunderstanding of how prolific and how iconic of a clan planned to actually take down the strongest ninja village in the ninja world itself. Such a method wouldn't have worked and Fugaku would have actually known as much. We learn in the Itachi Shinen story of Midnight in a scene that was not adapted in the anime version of the story exactly what Fugaku had planned in the months leading up to the massacre, and we're going to use that plan that he had to serve as the foundation for whether or not the plan itself could have worked, or if what Obito stated to Sasuke in volume 43 of Naruto, where he's told him that this is the truth of Itachi and that this would have been inevitable, which is a civil war inside the village and the eruption of a fourth ninja war as a result of other villages taking advantage of the infighting in Konoha. So in the story, Itachi, while working with the Anbu Black Ops, is able to sneak underground into the location inside the Uchiha compound, and he finds Fugaku's plans to rebel written out in extreme detail. And it's not what you saw in the Naruto Shippuden anime episode where Fugaku places Itachi under Genjutsu and shows Itachi Fugaku's aides, kidnapping Naruto, Fugaku removing the Nine Tails from Naruto and controlling it via Genjutsu. While that's a cool scene that pays off a line in the Itachi Shinen story of Daylight where Fugaku was stopped from going to assist Minato in the battle with the Nine Tails, specifically because Danzo and the elders feared his Genjutsu skills since it was on a level where he could control the Nine Tails, and Danzo suspecting Uchiha was behind the attack. That was not Fugaku's intention, so we will not factor that in for this. The primary plan was to do the following thing, which was to seize power quickly and win using stealth before a majority of villagers woke up that morning. He wanted as bloodless of a coup d'etat as possible, because despite all the issues Fugaku had with the elders in the village, he still loved his village and didn't want to harm innocent civilians, which is why Fugaku planned to take this very well thought out and meticulous approach by using the two biggest prodigies the Uchiha clan possessed, Itachi and Shisui. Fugaku planned to take a very small team consisting of himself, Itachi, Shisui, and Teku Uchiha to the Hokage Tower during the early parts of the morning when Hiruzen would be emerging from his private quarters and going to his office. The group of 4 Uchiha, each renowned for their Genjutsu skill, were supposed to place all the surrounding guards at the tower under Genjutsu, information that would have been provided by Itachi since he was a member of the Anbu Black Ops. They then would have taken Shisui and had him use his body flicker to bust into the Hokage office alongside Itachi and take the unsuspecting third Hokage hostage, while Teku Uchiha watched from the door and Fugaku stepped in to directly negotiate with the third Hokage. The demands that Fugaku made, they were pretty straightforward. They were to get a public statement removing doubt that the Uchiha had anything to do with the Nine Tails instance, since following the aftermath of the Nine Tails attack, there was a manufactured outrage towards the Uchiha, mainly done by Danzo, to get people thinking the Uchiha had something to do with the Nine Tails attack. The Uchiha, following that attack, were forced to live on the outskirts of the village in what became known as the Uchiha compound, compound, which prior to that was viewed as optional for members of the clan. Fugaku wanted to have the Uchiha who wanted to live amongst the other villagers to have the option to do so, instead of them being forced to live on a compound that was basically a glorified ghetto where they were confined to that area and kept under constant surveillance by the Anbu Black Ops, who they were hidden in plain sight, but the Uchiha knew they were there. Fugaku wanted the surveillance of the Uchiha dropped by the Anbu Black Ops. Finally, Fugaku wanted Hiruzen to step down as Hokage because, in his view, the whole reason why the relations between the Uchiha and the village had deteriorated this far is because of a lack of leadership by the third Hokage and following Danzo and allowing Danzo and the elders to wield as much influence as they did. Had Hiruzen taken a more active role during the Nine Tails attack and the aftermath afterwards, speaking directly to Fugaku to see if the Uchiha had any involvement instead of allowing Danzo to have his independent investigation and let his bias towards the Uchiha and the lack of concrete evidence that they were the ones behind it, leading to the clan being pushed to living on that compound, the belief was that things wouldn't have fallen this far. To Fugaku's credit, Itachi did know privately in the anime his disgust when he was gathered before the council of elders that Hiruzen had, and saying to himself that Hiruzen should have acted sooner to negotiate with the clan and that this was too little too late. And even Hiruzen himself as an Edo Tensei took on some of the blame for how things ended with the Uchiha. Fugaku's proposal was that the third Hokage step down and name Fugaku as the fifth Hokage publicly before the village, which, given the age of the third Hokage, nobody at the time would have batted an eye if he named the 40-year-old Fugaku the next Hokage. Meanwhile, as this is going on, the Uchiha will be gathered outside the homes of the other leaders of the four noble clans of Konoha, which, reminder, the four noble clans of the village are the Uchiha clan, the Aburame clan, the Akimichi clan, and the Hyuga clan. They weren't to engage directly in combat, but they were to prevent the clan elders and higher ups from leaving before the public announcement of Fugaku as Hokage. In Fugaku's back pocket, if Hiruzen resisted, he was going to do what Obito did with the 4th Mizukage and basically place him under Genjutsu to control him. Either way, Fugaku was going to walk out of that room either willingly or forcibly as the 5th Hokage and in securement of better conditions for his clan. Fighting the other clans was only going to be an option if there was an open opposition of Fugaku being named Hokage, which only happens if people think there was foul play involved and likely comes from Danzo and the elders planting seeds. There are flaws to this plan, obviously. Itachi, when he reads the scroll, calls it out as being a well thought out plan but a very foolish plan. The first thing was that Fugaku assumed that Itachi and Shisui would have gone along with the plan. They were critical components to the clan itself, if not the most critical components, and after Shisui died, Fugaku still planned to go forward with it, just having Itachi act alone by using his body flicker to blitz the third Hokage in his office instead of the duo of Itachi and Shisui, which that speaks volumes to how high in regard Fugaku held the third Hokage, thinking even caught off guard. If things took a turn for the violent, it would take himself and Itachi and Shisui to take down Hiruzen. The other reason Itachi called it foolish is Itachi had already understood what he told Naruto in the 4th Ninja War, which is that it doesn't matter if you aim for the Hokage position or even attain the position of Hokage. If you aren't acknowledged by the village and by the key leaders inside the village, you aren't truly a Hokage. While Fugaku was respected, Itachi believed the other noble clans wouldn't have just blindly accepted Hiruzen appointing Fugaku as Hokage out of nowhere, and it would have led to the other 4 noble clans rising up against the Uchiha clan in response, leading to a civil war. Even if Itachi and Shisui were on board and Shisui wasn't killed, I think Itachi was right here. A power grab of this proportion does not happen without bloodshed. It might not be right away, but there will come a time where there's bloodshed that happens. Even if Fugaku were to have gone the route that Obito did, which is Obito controlled the 4th Mizukage with his Genjutsu and he stayed in the shadows, things would not have ended the way that Fugaku wanted. Just as there were those in the Mist Village who realized that something was wrong with the Mizukage and they tried to rebel, unsuccessfully like Zabuza or successfully like the 5th Mizukage years later, there eventually would have been those who put the dots together and came for Fugaku. If he would have went nuclear and took the route that the anime adaptation of the 2 Itachi stories, the Book of Daylight and the Book of Midnight, where the anime chose to show Fugaku's man kidnap Naruto, removing the Nine-Tails throne, man Fugaku controlling it to beat the village into suspicion. All that does is damage the village, reduce the military manpower of the village, and leave it prone to attack from the outside by, say, the Hidden Cloud village, who at this point would have been less than a handful of years removed from their treaty they signed as a guise to kidnap Hinata and take her Byakugan for the Cloud Village itself. The only way this plan would have worked is if Fugaku got the thing that he wanted, which is Hiruzen being presented with grievances of the clan and realizing he needs to step down as Hokage to make things right. That was the only way Fugaku was getting his cope without the bloodshed. Now, you might still be wondering, that's fine, but what if, say, Minato had been alive during this time? Wouldn't things have gone the route that Naruto Shippuden's filler showed you, where Minato stops the massacre the night before? And to that, I would say there are some things that the anime got wrong. In that filler, you can see that was a best case scenario that omits quite a bit of things that weren't actually brought up in that scene, which you can learn about if you watch this What If Minato Never Died video you see on the screen.